Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Rochester. We are a church of open minds and loving hearts, celebrating many sources of wisdom and spiritual paths. Your faith, your doubts, your identities are welcome here. Welcome to visitors and newcomers, as well as those online. We're glad you're here. There is a preschool playroom open for young ones and groups for kids following the time for all ages. After the service, join us down in the Commons for refreshments and find ways to get involved and connected in the church and this community. For announcements, we have several. The first this morning is from our generosity team, Laurel Podolsky.
Good morning. As you know, we are in the final stages of our annual campaign. We have been very successful with our giving, but we still have more to do. Here's where we stand. We have yet to hear from 99 households who still need to return their pledge, either to the annual or to the capital campaign. Our capital goal has been met, but that does not mean we're finished. We have gifts ranging from $20 to $300,000, payable over 3 years. So there's room at the table for everyone to give something. As an example, if you pledge $100 and paid this over 3 years, it amounts to $2.78 a month. And that's less than a cup of coffee, or your favorite craft beer, or kombucha. We are grateful for the generosity of those who have pledged, and we will be even more grateful when we complete the campaign for those who we have yet to hear from. The annual campaign is plugging along. We are at 60% of our goal, so we need to complete that work so the board can establish a budget for the following year. So we have a couple of requests for you. Today, members of our generosity team, including me, will be seated at the table downstairs in the foyer with pledge cards for your convenience if you have not yet turned yours in. We also have a request from every congregant here today. Information on Realm, which is the platform that houses the church directory, for example, does not have up-to-date information, so it can be difficult to reach you. We ask that you stop by the table and verify your contact information and sign your initials so that we have current email and current cell phone and other numbers on file for you. So thank you for your time. Thank you for being such a tremendous congregation. And most of all, thank you for your generosity.
Thanks, Laurel. And speaking of generosity, our social justice partner for March was Planned Parenthood of Rochester. We raised $3,640.24. Yay! Thank you for that generosity. Our social justice team hopes that generosity will continue. This month's justice partner is the Village Agricultural Cooperative, which creates opportunities for communities to grow culturally relevant food. You can give as the plates are passed later on in the service or anytime online. Just a reminder, the tickets for the Play Ann, not me, for the Play Ann, a one-woman show performed by Lori Helmers, are on sale. There are posters in the lobby as well as in the Commons with a QR code. Buy a ticket, come and enjoy the evening. Join us each Wednesday for Tupper's Supper and programs for all ages. This week is Meditation, Why and How. Darren Podolsky-Smith, who leads the Zen meditation group on Tuesday nights here at the church, will talk about why you might want to meditate and how to do it. Join us for supper at 5:30 and the forum at 6:15. Today, we welcome Reverend Schuyler Vogel to our pulpit. Reverend Schuyler is a Unitarian Universalist minister currently serving as the chaplain at Carleton College in Northfield. Previously, he served as the senior minister of the Fourth Universalist Society of the City of New York. We also have another guest. Our guest musician is Jacqueline Schwab. She is a wonderful pianist. She has been with us before. She has performed in nearly all 50 states. She has performed at the White House, and if you've watched a Ken Burns documentary, you've heard her play. So welcome to both Jacqueline and Schuyler. So as we enter into our time of worship, with these words from our minister in the 1870s, the Reverend Eliza Tupper Wilkes, may our faith in humanity and our message of hope and good cheer light your way. In a moment, our opening hymn will call us back, but at this moment, take a chance to say hello to those around you. Hey.
Twice the laurel for the same price. So this is a reading called Like the First Hint of Green. As the first hint of green begins to peek through the barren ground, as that little sprig grows into a healthy stem, as that stem grows into a stalk and forms a bud, as that bud slowly opens and with each new day to form a yellow daffodil. Let us be like that first hint of green, renewed by the warmth of the sun's rays, and ready to emerge with a new energy, ready to face the day. We light this chalice to bring a glimmer of that warmth into our space.
The ushers will now receive your offering so that we might accomplish the mission of this congregation.
I'd like to invite any children forward who want to get a better look at the book. It will be up on the screen as well. So as we sit down, everybody kind of has their own space. Does everybody, could everybody draw a little circle around them if they really needed to? Well, how big's your circle? Okay. Hey, Waldo. Waldo kind of has an oval around him with his legs out front. But if we draw a circle around all, you can come over here. Or do you want to all see the screen? Is that the thing? It's right there. Yeah. Okay. Fair. So if we all draw a circle around us, what if we could never leave that circle? The circle would move with you. But what if your circle never grew? And nobody could go in your circle. You just had a bubble around you and you just walked around all the time. And you die alone. That's a little dark, but yes. I mean, you could still talk to other people and interact with other people, but you had your circle just by yourself. Are there ever any times where you want somebody inside your circle? When you get hurt? Need someone to help you? That's a great time to have somebody in your bubble. If you want a friend, if you're playing together, right? Has anybody ever come into your circle and made you you kind of want them in your circle, but you're I don't know, this is a lot of people in my circle right now. But does that kind of happen though? Where all your circles kind of come together and you're this is a lot of people. Yeah. Is that a bad thing? Sometimes it can be a bad thing. Sometimes you just need to retreat to your own circle. But sometimes it can be uncomfortable because what if the people in your circle don't like the same things you do? That makes it difficult, doesn't it? Sometimes? It depends on what it is. I mean, if they don't like pizza, I don't know if I can be their friend. I mean, that's pretty judgy, but I mean, seriously, who doesn't like pizza? People that are allergic to pizza. Jeez, I just cannot get out of this today. So today's story, we're going to talk about the circles that are all around us. The circles that are around us when we are alone. The circles that are around us when we're with a friend. The circles that are around us when we're in this congregation together. And any other circles that might pop up. So today's story was written by Brad Montague, and it's illustrated by Brad and Christy Montague. And it is called The Circles All Around Us. We began by drawing a circle on the ground alongside each shoe. So like I said, if you drew the circle right around you. A safe little place for just one person and nobody in that circle but you. You could keep that circle closed to everybody but yourself, but that would be like a library with just one book on the shelf. Not a lot of variety, is it? So let's draw a bigger circle for you and your family to share. Now you can see what all can happen in a circle full of care, like when you get hurt. It becomes a happier circle as more loved ones come to stay. You have a great-grandma or a cousin, grandpa, brother, uncle, uncle's dog, everybody in the circle. And wouldn't it be better if all your friends could come and play? No, I know, sometimes it can get a little people-y. So you stretch and draw your circle even bigger than it's been and let a few more people know they're welcome to come in. In the circles all around us, everywhere that we all go, there's a difference we can make and a love we can all show. Oh my goodness. Yet, there are still so many outside the circle who are different in all they do. Look at all the different ways to say hello. Though it feels slightly uncomfortable, we draw a bigger circle for them too. It doesn't mean the circle is easy. It can get harder the more we share. See, team cake, team pie. But wonderful things can happen when love is known everywhere. Look, what are they sharing? Friendship, donuts. Who doesn't love donuts? Someone who's allergic, yep. As time passes, our eyes open and we see others we really care for. And that's when we asked ourselves, wait, what's this circle even really there for? So let us create bigger circles all around us for the rest of our days. Let our caring ripple out in a million little ways. In the circles all around us, everywhere that we all go, there's a difference we can make and a love we can all show. As our circles grow and we watch them wonder-eyed, look at that big circle all around the earth. Lots and lots of circles. The earth is a circle. It's here. Remember, the first circle started with just the love you hold inside here. But love that's only held in your heart in your own circle, does that love go anywhere? No. So we're going to go share our love of being together, and they're going to listen to some other music and talking. Sound good? The children's benediction can be found in the back inside cover of your hymnal or on the screen.
Good morning. It is good to be with you. I invite you to settle in here as we create a place of communal caring and connection. It's our time to pause amidst the busyness of our lives, to slow down enough to consider the beauty that is here all around us, and to open a space for listening and love. Here, we honor all who support us in this caring, loving, and all-inclusive ministry. We send gratitude to Joe Payne and Sue Anderson, serving as our caring coordinators, arranging care for our members and friends in need. The members of our caring committee are wonderful examples of our compassionate community, holding us up as we go through challenging and happy times. And life can be challenging. We could all use some extra support with what life throws at us. And if you are experiencing those challenges in your life, we encourage you to reach out for support and help. If you need additional care or personal pastoral care, please reach out to Reverend Ruth or myself with that request. In this community, we share pieces of our lives with one another. We do this because all people here have value. Each person's experience matters. We lift up those who are experiencing sadness, illness, or loneliness. May the strength and love in our congregation help guide you. We revel in those who are experiencing joys in their lives. May their happiness lift us all, and may their joy filter into all around them. This morning, please hold Kathy and Joe Schwartz in your thoughts. Their adult daughter, Amy, age 51, suffered a brain bleed, causing stroke-like symptoms and is hospitalized. At this time of uncertainty, we send strength and comfort to them all. And Dick Rundle is recuperating from a broken arm and has been spending time with his daughter in Wisconsin. He will return back to Rochester this week, continuing his healing at River Bend Rehabilitation, and we wish him a speedy recovery. And Kathy Yoss, who passed away on March 23rd, will be honored at a celebration of life here at First UU on Saturday, May 25th at 2 p.m. We continue to hold Kathy's daughters, Jean and Deborah, and all who knew her. And we congratulate this morning Elise Gallagher and Joe Hensley on their marriage. They were surrounded by family and friends in Hawaii at the end of March for this celebration, and we wish them a wonderful start to their life together, and they're here in church this morning. So congrats. Yay. The Cards of Support list that is compiled weekly contains several members and friends of the church who are experiencing those challenging times or happy times, and is posted in the entryway of the church as well as through a link in your e-news. We provide cards and postage and welcome you to leave the cards you write near the basket downstairs so that we can spread your well wishes. So now take a moment in this shared space, settle in and breathe deep. The breath of life. Feel below you the earth and its ancient turning, and above you the skies and the stars shining with ancient light. Holding you in this space, yourself made of earth and stars. Sit deeply here in this community of love and justice, hope and grace. Know that here you are named and you are known as beloved. I invite you into this time of meditation, this time of prayer, first by sharing silence together. Spirit of life, source of love, God of many names and beyond all naming, we hold in our hearts all those who suffer in mind, body, or spirit. I invite you to bring the names you are holding in your heart this day, in joy or sorrow, celebration or concern, and silently or aloud now in this time to speak their names. For all those names spoken and unspoken, may we be held in love and grace. These words of meditation are by Dana Worsnop, a favorite of mine. I want to be with people. Often people say that they love coming to a place with so many like-minded people. I know just what they are getting at, and I know that they aren't getting it quite right. I don't want to be with a bunch of people who think just like me. I want to be involved in a beloved community where I don't have to think like everyone else to be loved, to be eligible for salvation. I want to be with people who value compassion, justice, love, and truth, though they have different thoughts and opinions about all sorts of things. I want to be with independent-minded people of a good heart. I want to be with people who have many names and no name at all for God. I want to be with people who see me in my goodness and dignity, who also see my failings, and who still love me. I want to be with people who feel their interconnection with all existence and let it guide their footfalls upon this earth. I want to be with people who see life as a paradox and don't always rush to resolve it. I want to be with people who are willing to walk the tightrope that is life and who will hold my hand as I walk mine. I want to be with people who let church call them into a different way of being in the world. I want to be with people who support, encourage, and even challenge each other to higher and more ethical living. I want to be with people who inspire one another to follow the call of their spirit. I want to be with people who covenant to be honest, engaged, and kind, who strive to keep their promises and hold me to the promises I make. I want to be with people who give of themselves, who share their hearts and minds and gifts. And I want to be with people who know that human community is often warm and generous, sometimes challenging, and almost always a grand adventure. In short, I want to be with people like you. May the faith and the spirit of life, love for the community of earth, and love for the light in each other be ours now and in all the days to come. And please join in singing hymn number 159. This is my song. I call That Church Free by James Luther Adams. I call that church free, which enters into covenant with the ultimate source of existence, that sustaining and transforming power not made from human hands. It binds together families and generations, protecting against the idolatry of any human claim
to absolute truth or authority. This covenant is the charter and responsibility and joy of worship in the face of death as well as life. I call that church free, which brings individuals into a caring, trusting fellowship that protects and nourishes their integrity and spiritual freedom, that yearns to belong to the church universal. It is open to insight and conscience of every source. It bursts through rigid tradition, giving rise to new and living language, to new and broader fellowship. It is a pilgrim church, a servant church on an adventure of the Spirit. The goal is the prophethood and the priesthood of all believers, the one for the liberty of prophesizing, the other for the ministry of healing. It aims to find unity in diversity under the promotings of the Spirit, that bloweth where it listeth and maketh all things new.
It is great to be with all of you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you to Anne and to the whole worship team here. It has been such a lovely welcome. And I've known Reverend Luke for almost 15 years when we were working at the Midwest Youth Leadership School long ago. So it's nice to be here and be with you for the first time, and thank you so much for having me. I'm going to start with a true story about a Unitarian Universalist music director. This music director had served his congregation for many years and generally loved his work. He loved the music they created together, and he loved the people that he got to work with. Generally, they loved him too. He tried his best, he was musically gifted, and brought an earnest cheerfulness to all they did together. Despite this, though, the music director had been struggling recently. Like with many UU congregations, he brought many different kinds of music each Sunday. Some days there would be jazz, some days classical, some days pop, some days just good old-fashioned church music. You never knew when you showed up. Recently, though, it seemed that people were grumbling a lot more than they had before. There had always some level of grumbling, as we human beings tend to like to do, whether at church or not, but it was getting worse. People were saying things like, "You never choose music that I like anymore." And didn't we just sing that? And then there were comments like, "None of the hymns mention God even once. What kind of church is this?" Or on a different Sunday, "We sang the word God 3 times, and I left my old church. I don't want that here." The music director, because he tried hard to make everyone happy, thought maybe he'd gotten a bit complacent. Maybe he was doing too many songs that only he liked instead of music that was best for everyone. Maybe he was choosing music that he had been trained in instead of pushing himself to grow into new genres and styles. So he tried to course correct. He put more time in his music selection. He began visiting music libraries. He did a deep dive into Spotify to see what was trending. Tried to find more music from marginalized artists and communities, and ordered a ton of new music for his congregation's collection. He, of course, wisely let the music committee and the choir know of all his efforts. They were encouraging and supportive, but in the wider congregation, nothing seemed to change. The comments just kept coming in. In the past, he had always welcomed the chance to have real conversations about the music that he loved, but it was beginning to drain him. How could he make everyone happy? In the next music committee meeting, he shared his frustration and his feelings. They were sympathetic. They were starting to hear some of it too. They had noticed the increased commentary and criticism. People they were observed seemed especially annoyed by the hymns that they were being forced to sing. Words were being put in their mouths. So the committee suggested a solution. They would do a survey. Then they would know what everyone wanted. They wouldn't have to guess. They couldn't be criticized for not listening or following what the results were. Now, the music director, who'd been around for a little while, agreed reluctantly. His experience with surveys, especially anonymous ones, that it was an easy way to lob scathing critiques without having to stand behind them or actually contribute to fixing anything. But seeing little other option, he set to work putting it together. He tried to ask in this survey everything that he could think of. He asked what musical genres people liked listening to. He asked what the kinds of emotions people wanted to feel. Inspiring or meditative, calming or ecstatic. But perhaps most importantly to his purposes, he asked the congregation to rank the hymns that they sang. He asked them to rank the top 5 favorite hymns and the least 5 favorite hymns. Since it was singing that was generating the most turmoil and controversy, he hoped that this question out of all of them could bring some clarity to making people happy. After all the survey results had been submitted, the music director began going over what people had said. Some answers were slightly surprising. Younger members, for example, liked organ music more than older members of the committee thought they might. Many of these same young members also resented that music from the 1960s was being called contemporary. As the music director was reading, he eventually got to the part about the hymns. He was excited to finally get some clarity about what people wanted. He turned the page on the survey, and he had to look twice. There were 2 lists, just like he expected: the favorite hymns and the least favorite hymns. The music director stared at them, and he thought there must be a mistake, because these lists were exactly the same. The congregation's favorite, most cherished hymns, the ones that people look forward to, that they found themselves humming happily along throughout the week or as they drove to work, these were the same hymns that an equal number of people dreaded and despised and were so sick of hearing they hoped they would never, ever hear them again. The music director couldn't believe it. He checked the data, he counted the tallies, but it was true. He was stuck. No matter what he chose, no matter what he played, some people in his congregation would be delighted, and some people would be upset. There was no song that everyone loved, no song he could forever avoid. Now, I personally, as a minister, have been grateful in my career to have never had this experience. There was never a steady stream of discontent about the music or other choices made in worship. We got the traditional whispers or comments, but not this. But the bind that this music director found himself in is a real one. Not only is it a true story with just a few embellishments for narrative tellings, but it is a fundamentally Unitarian Universalist story. There is an old, perhaps overtold UU joke that speaks to the unique nature of what we do here, and that's something our music director friend would have understood. Why the joke goes, are Unitarian Universalists such bad singers? The answer is that we are always reading a line ahead to see if we agree with the words. Our faith tradition, historically Christian, now non-creedal and multi-faith, it means that we come from a lot of different places. We come from different religious backgrounds. We hold many different beliefs, religious or otherwise. People can be Jewish UUs and atheist UUs, and UUs who don't know what they believe, but they know that they feel better when they come into a UU congregation. This diversity is, I think, wonderful and rich, and it is challenging, because it means that we all have very different ideas of what we want and what we like and what religion or spiritual life means for us. We have different ideas of worship and spiritual experience and community. There's a unique difficulty of having a bunch of people who come from different places and different beliefs having to coexist together under one roof. It can be hard to have so many different spiritual needs met, just like the music director found. There are some in our tradition who believe that this diversity is a weakness for Unitarian Universalists, that we would be wise to return to some form of creedalism, to articulate a set of beliefs, a return to a more theistic tradition, a more doctrinal tradition, that they are clear of who we are and what we believe. To save people like our music director friend from the dilemma of trying to make everyone happy. We would know better who we were, the argument is. It might make us better singers. This is true. But I don't think this is the way. Setting aside the fact that there is great diversity in all traditions, no matter whether you're UU or not, I believe that as with our nation as a whole, our diversity is what makes us beautiful and unique. In many ways, it is the truest representation of humanity. We are all, after all living together in this place, this planet, believing many different things, seeing life from many different perspectives, not coming from the same place. And we can't just wish that away because it makes being together harder. We are fundamentally stuck with one another. It's at the core of who we are as human beings. And we have to figure it out in our smaller scales, congregations. Rather than turning away from difference, we need to learn how to be together with it. For our communities to work, we need to know one important thing, that despite our uniqueness and individuality, our community does not exist to serve us alone. It's not about getting my needs met, or yours, or any one person's. That doesn't mean, of course, that we can't hope that when we come to places like this, that we can't get our spiritual needs met, that it can't speak our spiritual language, address our life situation, but we also have to recognize that it won't do that every time, every Sunday. Sometimes it will, and that will be terrific. But other times it won't. Sometimes it will downright irritate us, bore us, or even offend us. But like with the hymns in our story, chances are what irritates you or bores you is loved by somebody else sitting next to you. What doesn't feed you will feed the next person in the row. It may be exactly what they need in that moment, in that day. It's true of our music, of our prayers, our meditations, the sermons. If we're only here to have our own spiritual needs met, then we can't really be happy in a diverse community. Diversity requires that we care about others we don't understand, because we know that there are so many ways of being good and whole and true, of being human. The heart and soul of real community is learning to celebrate the joy and love others feel, not just ourselves. It's the delight in finding other people finding happiness and connection, even when we could take or leave whatever it is that is giving it to them. The famed psychologist Carl Rogers talks about holding what he called unconditional positive regard for other people. It's a generosity of spirit grounded, I think, in our first Unitarian Universalist principle, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. That is the kind of community that has that unconditional positive regard for everyone. You don't have to prove it. You don't have to be like me or feel like me. That can really transform lives. Where no one is forgotten or left behind. When no one is looked past or told to change the core of who they are, to sacrifice their integrity in order to fit in. To have that kind of community is one that's grounded in compassion and connection and warmth. It is orienting outwards, not inwards. This will be increasingly important, especially in congregations, which I think you all are, that want to grow. It's easy to say we want to welcome everyone and be more diverse. It's a lot harder to let go of songs we love or are used to, or ways of doing things that are core to who we have been. Growth and diversity asks us to change in real ways. I think of the many churches that want to be more racially diverse, for example, but when asked to have gospel music in their service, or have some amens coming from the crowd, people start getting uncomfortable. That's not how we do things here. Honoring diversity, theological or otherwise, can't be grounded on our terms or individual terms. It can only be real when we're willing to make room for others who aren't like us and let go of our own desires for our own needs and what we want. We can start this by just noticing our feelings. When the next time something bothers you or you feel dissatisfied, when that one hymn that you would have marked number 1 on your least favorite list comes up, or something just hits you in an uneasy way that says, that's not why I come. Instead of sinking into those feelings, instead of letting them take over your experience, turn them around. Consider that for someone here, they might be exactly what they came to hear. Maybe that felt like coming home for them. Maybe that was the thing that they can take out and get through the next week, because they are looking at a tough few days ahead. And as you consider that expansion of love, let your heart fill up with joy and gratitude, because knowing that your neighbor has that gift is a beautiful and lovely thing. Friends, we live in a world that is cruel, it is selfish, it is a consumerist world, and it is hurting. We don't need to make it any harder for one another. We can be a faith that is for something different. We can be here for each other, even if we don't always agree, even if we don't always get what we want. We can put our own needs and have them celebrate with others. Now, I know we can't make everyone happy, but the truth is that happiness does not come from getting what you want. It comes from transcending that by loving something or someone more than yourself. That is what we do here. That is what we do as Unitarian Universalists. We find things to love that are so deeply beautiful and important that the rest fades away. Here is the chance to love each other, to delight in each other's joy and meaning and comfort, to be part of a community devoted to justice and kindness and boundless, unconditional, positive regard for every single person. That is the work of Unitarian Universalism. That is the work of love and the path of true happiness. Let that be our work to do here. At the very least, we can be better singers. Amen. I invite you to rise in body or spirit for our next hymn, number 354, We Laugh, We Cry. Friends, go out believing in life in the strength of love. Remember that the joy that we come as a community comes from a community that is not just about us, it's not just about who we are and want to be, but about taking care of each other, knowing each other, welcoming each other, always expanding that circle of care a little further out to the next person and the next person, even when it is hard. Hence, go in peace, go in love. Amen.